Sometimes we might want to create a relative frequency distribution table from some data that we are already looking at. So that's what we're going to look at in this particular video. If I'm given data that's already summarized, like I am in this data over here, I'm looking at the frequency with which a particular response was given. So I have 125 for nevers, 325 or 24 for rarely, and so on. And if you'll remember that in order to make a relative frequency distribution, or to come up with that, we need to, it's a percentage of the whole, okay? And in order to find the percent with which never responses occurred, we have to know how many total responses did we get. In StatCrunch, we can do that by going to Stat, Summary Stats on the column. And I'm using a summary stats because this is a summary with which we were given the number of never replies. So I want to know if I'm only talking about the frequency column that's listed there, and if you'll click on the statistics portion in the center, I want to take the sum of the frequency column. When I do that, StatCrunch returns for me that there was 4,776 responses to this survey that was given. That's the number that I need to be able to come up with the relative frequency with which these responses were occurring. So to do that, to just kind of create the table in StatCrunch, we're going to go to Data, and we're going to go Compute an Expression, and I'm going to force StatCrunch to build an expression for me. So under expression, I say build. And what I want to do is I want to take each one of the cells that's underneath my frequency column, and I want to divide it by the total sum within that column, right? Because the percent with which never responses occurred would be 125 divided by the total responses of 476. So I want to choose the frequency column, and I want to divide each of the individual cells within that column by this one number of 4776. So that's what I enter right here. I click OK, and that's what the expression is for that particular column. And I'm going to go ahead and label the column to be relative frequency. I hit Compute, and you can see that it's going to return for me the relative, or the decimal value, right, for the number of occurrences that never was the response. And this is how we're going to create a relative frequency table based on summary data that was given.